Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Ask Jimmy Smith. Today, I'm excited to be bringing to you a portion of a full-length webinar that I did with Kyle Curtis of the Proven Replens VA program in my private Replens Facebook group. And so I did this webinar with Kyle a few weeks ago as of the time of this recording. And what we went through was the basics of hiring VAs, managing VAs, training VAs, and answering questions from the members of that group. And I wanted to bring to you a small snippet of it so that you can get the basics down of what it is that Kyle does to be hiring so many different virtual assistants, training them, and then instilling them into other people's businesses and having tons of success doing so. Kyle has gone through thousands of different applicants for this VA program. He trains them to source online arbitrage products, and then he gives those, or is able to provide that service to other sellers that ultimately need a virtual assistant that has been trained, so that they don't have to take the time to do that. You can actually find out more information at provenreplensva.com. So if you're interested in the program, it's provenreplensva.com. But in this video, we're going to be answering those questions of the basics of hiring VAs, managing VAs, and training VAs. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Since this is called hiring, training, and managing VAs, before I go to some of the further questions, I've got three main questions that I want to hit while people are posting some more. What are your recommendations for people that want to try to find their own VAs? So if they aren't going through a program like yours, how do you kind of go about that hiring process, for them to follow?
So for me, I will post, there's tons of different websites that I go off of. One of the big ones is onlinejobs.ph. Sometimes I'll go like Facebook groups, things like that. And then I'll put up a specific post, just figuring out, just being very specific of what I'm looking for and telling people how I want them to respond. And immediately I eliminate the people that don't follow directions, because literally their whole job is going to be attention to detail. They have to be able to make sure they're looking at the right quantities, the right weights, sizes, things like that. So that's what helps me. And then from there, I try to dig in. Like I said, I try to find out more about their background, who they are, because if I know that they're going to have that strong work ethic, they're going to try their best. You'll wake up in the morning and sometimes they'll work extra just to try to hit where you're trying to be, your goals, because, this job means so much to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whenever you do go through that process of hiring them, what's your typical process then for training? Are you really hands-on, or do you recommend people being very hands-on, or should you go with guides? What's the communication like? All of that kind of stuff.
100% hands-on as much as you can. I am recommending people to set like weekly schedules or even daily schedules if they want to. For me and my team, what we do is we'll meet once a week. I'll set it up, say like on Monday, and we'll go over their finds. And some of them I won't even actually open because I want them to see what my mindset is. So like I'll open it in front of them on like a screen share and be like, okay, look, whoa. And I'll even talk out loud. I'll say, okay, looks like this, I see this. So they know what I'm looking for. So the next time they open a lead, they're going to be doing the exact same thing, going down the list, looking at all the right stuff. If you do hands-on, you're going to have a VA trained very, very, very quickly. If you do videos, if you say, hey, here's pack, here's this, here's that, then it's going to take a lot longer. You're going to see a lot more mismatches. And that's kind of where we fill that plug in our program.
Gotcha. And if somebody was trying to do this, how long would you typically recommend for a training, if they were going to train them themselves?
Well, it depends on what results you're looking for, because there's always training. I'm always learning. They're always learning, right? That's a great question. I say if you get to the point where you feel like you're doubling, tripling your money easily every day you wake up, like that's a win. And I could see that as early as 2-3 weeks. But that's if you're constantly giving hands-on and stuff. I tell people that come through our training, they're going to be still learning, and we're going to help. And mainly what they're going to be learning is your criteria. We do the basics. We teach them Keepa. We teach them everything we can. But the next part is figuring out what you like, getting into your head.
Okay.
And how you look at items.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then is it different whenever you're trying to manage VAs, if you're managing one versus if you're managing a team? And what are those differences in your eyes?
So for me, I don't really build big teams. They're mainly me, because I like to be very hands-on. I want to be approachable, kind of like how many people like Jim Cochran is. He likes to be very available if needed. But for the ones that I do put in charge, I definitely pay them a little bit more, and I give them the feeling that they are in charge. I let them make the decision. Sometimes they'll come to me and they're like, hey, what should we do? And I'm like, hey, you make the decision, you make the call, because I want them to know that they have my trust and the authority to do it. Like I'm building leads lists for some masterminds groups right now. And, I have a head VA and I'll do the exact same thing. She'll ask me, well, should we sort this? Should we do this? I'm like, you don't learn unless you make the mistake. So go ahead, let's do it. And then we'll correct anything that, needs to be done.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And from managing one specifically, like I think, at least in my experience in the past, you've got to be really good about the communication with one, but then as you get a team, you have to be able to delegate as well and kind of build up that lead VA. So how do you get to the point of selecting a lead VA and trusting them to be able to manage other people as well?
Looking at their job that they've done, how much they've grown, and if they can do pretty much anything that you ask, and they almost know who you are at that point. Like I'll tell them, hey, I want this done, this. And at some point they don't even know, they've worked with me so much that they just know exactly how I want it done. Okay. Like I just tell them what they do. And that's where I know this person can easily do it. Now I also want someone that's outspoken, and that's one of my vetting process where I talk about like the work ethic and things like that. So I need someone that's outspoken too. So they will be able to talk to someone. You and I are introverts, so sometimes it's tough, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you so much for checking out that video with Kyle Curtis on the basics of hiring VAs, training VAs, and managing VAs. As I mentioned earlier, actually, Kyle runs a program called ProvenReplensVA.com. And so they go through and they will hire. They've gone through thousands of applicants at this point, and they've been able to train over 100 different virtual assistants that have had success stories with sellers that have worked with this program. And so I highly encourage you, if you're looking for a virtual assistant that is somebody that can source online arbitrage deals or even retail arbitrage, if you send them pictures, I highly recommend checking out ProvenReplensVA.com. And if you're interested, we've had over 1,000 success stories come out of Replens content in general, which is why there's so many different software programs and service providers that are coming out with stuff for replenishable sellers. So if you want to see over 500 of those success stories, go ahead and head over to AskJimmySmith.com/success. Also, I would really appreciate it if you'd leave a comment. What's your experience with virtual assistants? Have you used the Proven Replens VA program? Is there something that you recommend in the hiring, training, and management process of virtual assistants? Leave that comment below. Also, let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to do further on YouTube videos or on content around virtual assistants. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.